Welcome to Ghoulish Gab, always spooky, always under 7 minutes. Today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite horror movie soundtracks and probably talk about some musicians who were in horror movies, etc. Whatever. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite all-time horror movie soundtracks, and that's Return of the Living Dead. And it's one of those movies that like it's almost perfect. It probably is. And the music is a big part of that. Um, the big song in there, of course, is 45 Grave Party Time, a band that most people don't really know aside from that song. And of course, it's got the Cramps, the Damned, TSOL, a lot of good punk rock stuff. It's just a amazing soundtrack from front to back, and it fits the whole punk rock zombie aesthetic of the
Hell
film.
yeah. If you can dance naked on a grave to it, I'm in.
Heck yeah.
Uh my perfect movie for me is the first soundtrack I'm recommending, which is the score from 28 Days Later.
Mm.
So the movie, in that big scene where the main character is figuring out that zombies, like London is not what it was and zombies are a thing, is playing East Hastings by Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Okay.
And you can't get that on the soundtrack because they didn't have the rights to it. They let them use it for the movie, but not for the soundtrack. But John Murphy did the original score, and he kind of based the whole score around that sound from Godspeed You Black Emperor. So it gives a very post-rock-ish vibe with these awesome, amazing, beautiful builds. And when you're watching the movie, it's perfect. But if you're just driving down the road and you're not feeling lyrics and you just want to listen to some music, it's pretty damn good. I recommend anybody listen to it.
All right. Now, this next one, you can comment that it's not a horror movie exactly, but look, everybody who's a big horror movie fan is a fan of this one. And the soundtrack, it's another one. The soundtrack is just about flawless. Like, I love every song on here. And I think everybody who, has listened to it has some favorites off of here. I mean, you got Nine Inch Nails covering Joy Division. Cure is on here, Rage Against the Machine, uh, on and on and on. It's probably one I don't have to tell you much about. If you haven't heard it, then just don't wait any longer. It's
It's
90s
perfect.
alternative goth rock at its best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Repo the Genetic Opera.
Mm, love it.
So everything was written and composed by Darren Smith and Terrence, and I never pronounce his last name right, Dunwich. It's starts with a Z though. But it's got performances from Paris Hilton. There's randomly Joan Jett plays the guitar in one of the songs. And I'm just I could name drop a million people, but it's even if you don't like the movie, the songs are really catchy. I know so many people that know the Zydrate Anatomy song and have never actually
Yes,
watched the movie.
it's so good. All right, here's another soundtrack with a lot of hard rock, heavy metal stuff on it. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. This one had a lot of songs that were kind of already released, but it had a couple, that you can only get on here. But this is for all you people who enjoy the heavier stuff. You got your Machine Head, Sepultura, Melvins, Rollins Band, Pantera, on and on and on. Should have just read off the front. It's got them all right there. And it even ends with 1-800 Suicide from the Gravediggers, a side project of RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
I did not know that. So I've got a horror TV show, though some people would argue with me about it being horror. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As we know in the group, I am listed as the group expert in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's got, first of all, the sound, the scores from it, a lot of them are made by Christoph Beck. They're beautiful. But then he just has the people who chose the music for these episodes. I mean, it's got Amy Mann, Chiba Mato, Sprung Monkey, like the Sundays. It's got this whole big wide group, but everything is good because there's a club in the show and they have these bands come on and play.
Yep.
And There's a gentleman that is in a local band in Woodblind that actually is in one of his old bands is in an episode of Buffy.
Oh, nice. I did
Yep.
not know that. That's pretty cool. This is the soundtrack for the Greasy Strangler. I just wanted to show that. It's a wonderful score. It's the best ever. Just make sure you listen to that. It's great. Um, I, I think the best song ever written for a horror movie, in my opinion, though, of course, is Pet Cemetery from the Ramones. That soundtrack doesn't have any other like songs on it. There's a score, of course, but that would be a big mention. If you like butt rock, there's the Dream Warrior song uh, from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. Who doesn't know that song? It's good, but not good.
Shout out for a composer, Christopher Young he did the score for Hellraiser. He did the score for Pet Cemetery. He did the score for Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Grudge, Urban Legends, Species. Like all of his stuff is amazing. He's like the John Williams of horror. So those four were my main shout outs.
Another good soundtrack I would be an honorable mention to would be Queen of the Damned. The songs in the movie, they were all it was Jonathan Davis from Korn who sang on all of them. But then when you get the soundtrack, it's I think he's on one of the songs, and then it's a different singer on each of the other songs. But you can usually find online the version where he sings all of them. I much prefer that to the other people singing them because I mean they naturally sound like his songs because he wrote them. He didn't.
Yep.
I don't think he wrote them for these other people.
Which is odd because the actor who plays Lestat in that does not look like he should have Jonathan Davis's voice. So when they cut to him
No,
singing on stage, you're like, nah, nah, no. You don't have a long white guy dreadlocks. This does not fit.
that movie is just Lestat wakes up and he's like, I want to be in Korn now, and that's what I'm gonna do with my life, and it's weird. We're out of time here. Why don't you tell us about some of your favorite horror movie songs, soundtracks, scores in the comments, uh, and tell us what you thought of ours. Okay, bye.